Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Henson, president and founder of Agiledad, and it's time for today's episode of the Daily Stand-Up. So without any further ado, let's get started. Today's Tuesday, and it's a beautiful day. Everything is going my way. Everything's going my way. It's just a wonderful, wonderful morning. I'm glad that you could be here with me. And in this episode of the Daily Stand-Up, I think you're going to see a recurring theme. Yesterday, we talked about product ownership and what three attributes really make for a great product owner. Today, I want to share a little bit with you. Now, if you've ever taken my classes before, you often hear me talk about the Microsoft group and the Azure group specifically. And Justin is one of the product managers there. And he recently did a blog post called If I Could Relearn Product Management. And I didn't ask permission, so I'm going to ask forgiveness if I shouldn't be, but I'm going to review his blog post because I really, really love where he took this. He was having a conversation with some other folks, and this is how it all started. So, through coaching and through his own insight, he talked about his journey. And he said, right out of college, he knew that he would be building and shipping technology products and that was what he wanted to do. He found a PM or product manager to be the best fit. And he read a ton of articles, listened to podcasts, did everything he had to do in the early stages to try to get his head around it. And what he came to the conclusion of was kind of like a Venn diagram where you have user experience, technology, and a business all kind of overlapping. And that small piece in the middle, the small piece of pie, that's where you're trying to hit if you're doing product management the correct way. So he has been the PM or APM for Microsoft Azure for about 5 years. That's kind of awesome, right? When you think about it that way. And this is his insight. So he gave us the top three rules, is what he calls it. So it's the top three rules that if he could relearn product management, these are the three rules that he would want to know. So the top three rules that he would live by. Rule number one is that product management is a function of non-dedicated roles and personal ownership. My goodness, I don't know if I could have said that any better. This is more like an advanced topic, but I love how he says product management is a function of responsibilities that are not directly accounted for by the dedicated roles. Truth, truth, truth. You need to trust your team to perform, but you need to give them the clarity to do so. The PM should never just focus on scraps left over, but they're accountable for anything that is deferred, which makes sense. So you have to elevate the meaning of what you're trying to do. You need to fill gaps, and the gaps are what makes the difference between a viable solution and just a band-aid technical debt, right? And he gives you some actions. He says, take extreme ownership of your product. And if you've been to my class before, you hear me all the time say extreme, right? You need to take extreme ownership of the product. You need to understand that the buck stops with you. The buck stops right here. And that with that kind of change, when you're instituting that kind of change, you can see that you can accelerate a lot faster, which is just awesome, right? Because you're the owner and it's your baby and you need to deal with it. Two, he says, hone the critical skills that help you prioritize effectively and share clearly. The truth is, and here I'm going to say it, and he says it here too, you will never have all of the information. If you say we're waiting till we have all the information, you're going to be waiting forever. You're never going to have all the information you need to be successful. So do the legwork and make a choice, make a decision, right? And whenever you do make a decision, don't make ambiguous decisions. Make clear decisions. Say, this is what we're going to do, and that's how it's going to be. And that's going to make you really, really good at what you do. And then number three here is do the grunt work. If you need to be prepared to do anything, patch docs, open pull requests, set up a meeting, do whatever you need to do. If you're empowering the team to be successful, that's going to make you a successful product manager. Rule number two. Product management requires a breadth of capability and patching depth of knowledge. A byproduct of extreme ownership is ensuring critical pages are not left unturned. Time spent learning about all facets of your business, not just the product, enables decision making that'll be better than the average product manager. Truth again. And I love that he lays this out. He says, know your customer better than your customer knows himself. Define a pain point you're trying to solve and any pain that you yourself feel deeply. This is probably one of the strongest articles on project management I've ever read. It's really, really good. I'll make sure that we put the link in the description. Some actions that he puts there. He says, leverage your breadth of knowledge to surface opportunities that a depth expert may not see. They might swim right over it. Bring new information to the table, which is not represented by the table of experts with your depth of expertise, and make trade-offs that acknowledge unknown unknowns. Right, confront known risks that accompanies every decision. I love it. This is power. If you have more project managers that work this way, more agile projects will be successful. And then number 3, project product manager. Thank you. Whew, that would have been a big slip. The product management isn't always will be about people. It's about the people. And I find myself saying this often, that the commonplace phrase for a product manager is influence without authority. They are responsible for helping make sure that we have a good understanding. And he goes on to say Microsoft Azure, this is based out of engineering, out of our engineering, partially due to the shared persona of the customer base. This means a key relationship has been with engineering, and a core focus is to help them get things done. This may mean helping them unblock cross-team issues, providing clear specification, challenging them on assumptions. And I like that. I think that this is going to try to get you to the next level. It's going to teach you the things you need to pay attention to. And some of the actions he lists here are: make sure you get to know everyone on your team. I talk about this at the beginning of every class I teach. Knowing people both professionally and as a person, as an individual, as someone that you're going to work with is important. You're going to discover that you can learn endless amounts about that person, and it's going to help you grow in both personal and professional relationships. Number 2, listen. Learn to listen beyond the words. It's not just words that you're listening to. Building things that are awesome means that you're touching so many lives, and that you have to come in with the understanding that there's pressure on anyone responsible for that. Everybody comes to work every day and they want to do good things. Nobody ever comes to work with malicious intent and says, today I'm really going to jack things up. That never happens. So you need to know that everyone needs help at some time, and it's your responsibility as a product manager to help when you can. And finally, embrace the what ifs. Focus is good, but rigidity is not. And there's a difference between focus and rigidity. I think that if you remain open to what teams have to say, which may not align with your current focus, and seek to get good sharing by default. The truth is, you're never going to get everything 100% right the first time. That's what the whole principle of the empirical process is. And I think that if you could start over as a product manager, or if you could start fresh in what you're currently doing, that it's okay for you to admit defeat, rewind, and come back to this place. Because I can tell you, these are powerful messages, and I couldn't be more proud of this blog post. This was one that I'm so happy someone sent to me. So thanks to my student who sent it to me. Justin, you're awesome. Keep doing good things at Microsoft. And as always, we encourage you, tune in to Agiledad to learn more about this topic and many others. Stay healthy, stay well, stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.